Ewan McGregor is great as an energetic power bottom, but how does he do as Halston? Versace and the boys in the band were my early warning signs that I would hate Halston. Versace felt like a piece of lacquered furniture, and the boys in the band was such a downer. With an angry lead performance by Jim Parsons, I ultimately decided not to review it because I have nothing nice to say about it. Well, the first 15 minutes were fun, but then I'd check out if I were you. I was not looking forward to Halston, but it is my gay daddy duty to review Halston, and ultimately, like a great trashy novel, I just could not put Halston down. I kept hitting that Netflix next episode button. And a few reservations aside, I thoroughly enjoyed Halston and believe it is the best work of the Ryan Murphy team to date. It's sexy, and Ewan McGregor is fabulous as an energetic power bottom. But how does he do as Halston? I feel the choice of Ewan McGregor as Halston hinged in large part to his status as a proven actor. And as I've learned, he was already attached to the project when Ryan Murphy optioned it from Killer Films. I still believe Ewan should have stepped aside for an actor like John McCrea, Ben Whishaw, or Elliot Page. That would have been fucking awesome. And it would have felt less pandering, more radical, and less like an act. I love Ewan McGregor, and maybe he is a member of the LGBTQIA+ community, and I've just made an ass of myself. It'll happen. Ewan was not the magical choice for the role, though, like, say, Sean Penn in Milk. I need Ryan Murphy's team to work harder when they tell his gay story as part of his $300 million Netflix deal. He owes that to his audience because no one will make another Halston pick for quite some time now. Although maybe they do need to. That said, I think this Halston is the best work from the Ryan Murphy team in a long time, and by the end of the show, I'd grown to love Ewan McGregor's Halston, and I wept for him. I believe Ryan Murphy found a subject he could authentically relate to, and that's what makes Halston work so well. Murphy says he took a more of a hands-off approach with the other filmmakers involved. But this show is very Ryan Murphy, and that's not bad here. It's quite good. The writers understand this story, and that substance abuse is at the heart of Halston's problems, and that resonates for a lot of us. I've heard some very strong opinions against this Halston, from Ewan McGregor's Faye Act to the on the button nose casting of Liza Minnelli. Wouldn't Lady Gaga have been a blast? Ewan McGregor does a fine job as Halston. I just believe this is a role suited best for the LGBTQIA+ talent that instinctually understands the need to create a persona in order to survive. I created one at 11. LGBTQIA+ people instinctually understand the reason for persona shields. They cannot touch us if they do not know us. Ewan's Halston puts on a face shield more as a money-making device in order to be perceived as a genius, rather than as a means of survival. Yet it's his means of survival that makes the genius. So, there's an innate contradiction here. If the face shield is only used for money, as it appears, if his face shield had been used for survival, then I would understand it a little better. It probably was, but I don't exactly get that from Ewan or the story or the parts when he was a child. He never did that. So yes, that's my big problem with Ewan. He does not seem to understand the need to create a persona in order to survive in the world. Truman Capote performed similar tricks with his persona, and I most certainly do not want to see any more straight men play Capote. No more, done, stop it. Go play Philip Roth or Robert Frost. Episode 1, Becoming Halston. I do not like biographies that begin in childhood, so thankfully there were only some brief childhood scenes. Halston had an abusive, intolerant father and a loving mother. He created hats for his mother to make her happy, and this led to his first success designing Jackie Kennedy's pillbox hat. I loved how Halston begins with his first major success. I found this very refreshing because it is here that Halston's story truly begins, and we are instantly introduced to his lifelong dilemma as a designer. Fashion trends fade quickly, and as you know, in fashion, one day you're in, the next day you're out. In episode 1, we meet the team Halston puts together. Krista Rodriguez does a great, if not inspired, job in the role of Liza. I need more wackiness in my Liza. That's why we love her. She's unhinged. This Liza seems to be in total control. There is not really a bad actor in the cast. David Pita is Joe Ula, Halston's illustrator, acts as somewhat of a conscience for Halston, and he's excellent. And Rebecca Dion delivers a captivating turn as Elsa Peretti, the jewelry designer. And I did not recognize Rory Culkin as Joel Schumacher. He's that good. But that's also another role Joel McRae could have and should have snagged. All of the members of the team contribute, but it is Halston's smooth personality and yes, his genius that attracts the socialites to turn him into a star. And at the end of episode 1, Halston is on the verge of becoming a star, and it's very unright. Episode 2 is about the Battle of Versailles. It's a competition between French and American designers. Kelly Bishop is fantastic as the fashion publicist Amanda Lambert, founder of the Met Gala and New York Fashion Week. She convinces Halston to participate in the Battle of Versailles. Those are great scenes. And this becomes one of his great successes. Although I didn't understand why Halston's looks were considered so much better than his contemporaries, but nonetheless, Halston emerges the victor and is on the road to success. Amanda Lambert introduces Halston to the businessman David Mahoney, played by the ever-reliable, so trustworthy Bill Pullman. The devil comes in many disguises. Episode 3 is titled The Sweet Smell of Success and details the creation and launch and success of the Halston perfume line. This is my favorite episode of the series, in part due to the quirky, cool performance of Vera Farmiga as Adele and the perfumier. She's amazing, especially after watching her in The Conjuring 3. Halston's scenes with Adele force him to confront his painful past and lead to his greatest financial success. And I thought these scenes were super effective and wanted more. As the Halston name rises and more products are labeled with his name, he becomes more and more detached from his art and his friends. And by the end of the episode, he's really detached, and he watches as his lover Victor fucks another guy on the dance floor, which was super hot. But I couldn't understand if the filmmakers wanted Halston to be turned on or sad by Victor fucking someone else. I think we are meant to think he's sad because it's the sad episode. But that's a super duper false note, in my opinion. Halston knew who Victor Hugo was, so why would Victor having sex with another man hurt him? Halston appreciated Victor for being an outsider, for being who he was, and as illustrated by the pickup line he gave Ed. So this moment rings a very false note for me. Halston seemed to be sex positive. John Franco Rodriguez does an excellent job as Victor, but his character is ultimately bad news for Halston, encouraging a cocaine lifestyle that will destroy Halston's most productive years. The series moves very quickly, and I appreciate that, but really very quickly. Episode 4, the party's over. The lights have come up, and Halston's still doing lines of cocaine, and that's the worst. Drugs are taking a toll on Halston, but his brand is as successful as ever. Even when Liza collapses on the dance floor to a drug overdose, Halston doesn't see that as a warning sign. The Halston brand becomes oversaturated like Halston, and profits have plateaued like Halston. The money manager David wants Halston to make a pair of jeans, which Halston refuses to do. And the money manager feels as if he cannot invest in a designer so much as orchids and cocaine. Only the Halston fragrance keeps the ship afloat. So when Halston misses this opportunity to create a line of jeans, he's truly fallen behind the trends and the times, and that used to keep him ahead. And this is when he finally hits rock bottom in all respects. He agrees to become the in-house designer for JCPenney. Me and my sister used to call it Jacques Penney to fancy it up in South Georgia. With this move, Halston will become the embodiment of an idea that he swore against. If everybody can have something, what's the point of having it? He will now be sold to the masses on the cheap. Episode 5 finds Halston at his lowest moment. He's designing, but he's not having any fun. And he's pushed away all of those that were close to him. His brand has been bought out by another company, and they have no time for his worst excesses. He is ultimately replaced and berated for being so irresponsible with his name. In a wonderful twist of fate, Martha Graham, the dancer and choreographer, encourages Halston to design costumes for her production of Persephone. And it is here where we catch a glimpse of Halston before the persona and the wild cash grab. Halston returns to form as an artist when he creates the costumes from Martha Graham, and he receives the most glowing reviews of his career. I adored these scenes, and especially Mary Beth Peil as Martha Graham. I love that Halston was not presented as bitter when he died, and that the filmmakers didn't show his last moments in a hospital room. I give this Halston 4 out of 5 stars for being trashy fun, and I also offer Ewan McGregor a big hug. Ewan, you are totally believable as a power bottom, maybe just not this power bottom. Until next time, always remember, living well is the best revenge.